Good morning, y'all. It's Friday, August 13th. Oh, Lord. Listen, let me tell you something. Living through the fall of empire is not for the weak. Yes, we are weary, but we need some fortitude. I don't even think I have a soliloquy, an introduction, a nothing. I'm going to pull these cards and let these cards give us a word to carry us through the next few days. Because do you need a word? Do you need a word? I need a word. So maybe this word is just for me. Maybe you don't need a word. You might be fine. That's okay if you're fine. Thank you for joining me as I give myself a word. All right. And maybe this word I give myself might resonate with you. Let me shuffle a little more. Oof. All right. All right. Spirit said keep shuffling, so I'm going to keep shuffling. It's annoying when that happens because I just be ready to see what these cards are going to say. All right. I think this is good enough. Let's see. All right. Always we cut the deck and see the card on the bottom as the context and reference point for the message. What are we talking about? We are talking about the Eight of Wands. All right. I have these like little phrases. You know, y'all know I love words and I love to say things succinctly, to the point, get to the core, the essence, the concentration of the essence. And for the Eight of Wands, the phrase is, well, that escalated quickly. It's this sense that things have already been put into motion. You can't stop this train coming, so you hop off the tracks or you grab on and go for a ride, and you don't really have much choice in situations like this. What's escalating quickly in your life? What's imminently arriving to shake some things up for you? This is really a sense that our capacity to shift or change the trajectory of current events in the world or in our lives is gone. This is not an energy that you can harness. It's an energy that you flow with or you get out of the way of. It seems very urgent and pressing. Eight of Wands can also indicate incoming messages. Listen, open your ears, pay attention to messages that are coming through. People and things whose judgment you trust. Let's see what we got here. We've got the world. Ooh, let me just tell y'all. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make yourself a burner account and just follow me and turn on your notifications and so you can get the messages that I'm giving on Twitter. This morning I woke up with a word, and the word is that this is collapse. That our leaders, our liberators, our activists have talked a lot about dismantling systems and institutions, but we are past the point of dismantling and we are at the moment of collapse, right? Collapse looks like not even trying anymore to maintain the facade of order. And when this collapse comes, we rip off the mask, we rip off the veneer of order. And what is revealed is the true nature of what we've been dealing with all the time, right? What we've been dealing with this whole time is that each and every system and institution, from your job and your employment to education, the school you send your children to the media, to this whole system, is meant to hold up capitalism, right? I hope that you can see in this moment that this is a moment of completion. Let me get back to the card proper. This is the world. The world is about a graduation. It's about a completion. It's about the end of the road. It's about having gone as far as you can go. Not because you've run out of energy or you've ran out of resources or something like that. It's like, no, this is a dedicated and anticipating ending, a culmination, reaching a critical point of completion, right? What messages are coming through to you to pay attention to the culminations and critical points of completion in your personal life right now and more broadly out in the world? Oftentimes we look at the destruction and the changes and things that are happening in the world, and we cannot make the connections between our own plight and what we're seeing in the world. But this is a moment to understand that your suffering is not your own. This is a shared suffering, right? The inability, the difficulty to carry on business as usual was not a personal failing, an inability to ration your time and energy and resources and budget a little bit better. This is not because you have not made the right list or your vision board has not been refined to perfection. It's not because you can't find time in your schedule to meditate or the gyms are closed, right? At what point are you going to take the burden of empire off your personal shoulders? How long is it going to take for you to see that the difficulties that you have with thriving in this world is not a moral or personal failing? How could one person take on the responsibility to maintain a normalcy that really was built and created and maintained to cause you to suffer? I mean, let's just get real. We want to assume positive intent or benign at the best, but understand that there are some things that are evil. And we all know that when it comes to, maybe we don't know, when it comes to justice, justice is not something that exists independent of the humans who require it. Justice is not a hands-off thing. Justice requires all hands on deck. Justice requires you to accept that you have been a victim of injustice. And accepting that you have been a victim of injustice requires you to feel that you are tired, to feel that you don't have enough, to feel that you are afraid. Maybe the incoming message is the message that I'm giving right now. I don't know. But open your ears. I'm not the only one speaking these words. I'm not the only one who has a message to resonate and validate you in this moment. In my mind right now, I hear in one ear, I don't feel no ways tired. But then in this ear, I'm like, but yes, I am tired actually. I am tired, but I don't feel no ways tired. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. So maybe it's that I don't feel no ways tired because I'm not alone. You're not alone. We are in this together, y'all. That's so important. It's so important to remember that. It's so important to speak that affirmation over your life. And yes, we are not alone in seeking this liberation and demanding our freedom and justice. But we have to, before we get to that point, we have to recognize that our suffering is a shared condition of injustice. Your suffering, your not having enough, your weariness and your tiredness, your burdenness and heavy ladenness is not a suffering you shoulder alone. This empire, this system has really done an excellent job, an efficient and excellent job at convincing you that your suffering is due to your own lack of will, your own lack of grinding, your own lack of strength an ability. You need another degree. That's what it is, right? You need another degree. That's why you're suffering. You don't have enough education. Why is education and debt the barrier between you and your well-being? That is injustice, my friend. That's injustice. That's the source of your suffering. Why is selling your labor in between you and shelter? That is suffering. That's the conspiracy. We've been living it all along. And so mask off, right? Mask off. Let's see what it really is that we're looking at. As we move into this weekend and these next few days with the Eight of Wands and the world, I want you to keep your eyes and ears peeled. I want you to really be able to see what's in front of you. I really want you to be able to see clearly and understand this moment that we're in. The Eight of Wands in the world are telling us that now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, now. The moment of liberation you've been waiting for is now. The culmination and completion of this season of handing over our understanding and our children and our bodies to capitalism, to labor. That's over now. Can't you see? You know, when someone or something is dying, all hands come on deck to try to revive it. They get the paddles to try to get the heart going again, and they maybe give you a blood transfusion, and they give you some oxygen, and they give you some drugs and all of these things. They give you some morphine to deaden the pain that you feel in the moment of a body's collapse. Look at the ways that all hands are on deck trying to preserve the inevitable death of this system, of this empire. They are trying to give this empire transfusions, but with your blood and your children's blood. They are trying to give this CPR to this system, to get the heart, lungs going again, to get some breath into the body of this dying institution, but they want your breath. They want your heart. They want everything that you have to keep this thing going. Will you give it up? Will you give them your children? I had a conversation with Winter and Reed. Winter was saying, you know, how these people claim Christianity and they want this to be the end times and they want this to be Bible times. And it reminded me of the plagues, and it reminded me of Herod and all the times in the Bible where empire demanded that you sacrifice your firstborn in order to maintain your identity as a member, as a beneficiary of this empire. And so I look around and see how easily and how willingly people are willing to overturn their children and their firstborn to empire. Where is the blood on your doorpost? Where is the blood of the lamb on your post? Where is your sacrificial lamb, right? Or are you readily and willingly giving over your children to empire, their minds and understandings, their bodies' health and well-being? At what point? When do we say is enough? Can we see the completion is nigh? Can we see that ending is nigh? It may not look how you thought it was going to look. What it looks like is dancing and singing and celebrating while the building is collapsing. Turning on the music so you can no longer hear the bits and pieces of brick falling and crumbling around you as the wire snaps in the ceiling and the fans start to fall. You just turn up the music a little bit louder and maybe you won't hear it. You're supposed to run out of a collapsing building. Instead, many of us are running in. We are running into the collapsing building, hoping that we can just save it with our blood, with our children, with our labor, with our minds, right? I really didn't mean to come on here and preach, but obviously I had a word. Okay, maybe I did mean to come on here and preach. Let me stop lying. Anyways, again, this was a word for me. And this is a word to to encourage myself to press forward and to imagine my freedom and my liberation, and to pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the omens and auguries that reinforce and illuminate for me the truth that empire has fallen. That is a cause to celebrate. We should be running out of the building and cheering on, right? We should be taking our baseball bats to the loose bricks at the foundation and the cornerstone of empire, which is patriarchy, right? We should be running. We should be running. It's hard. It's not easy, especially when your imagination is so out of practice. It's like that first jog you try to take when you haven't worked out in a long time. You get to the end of the block and your chest is burning, okay? Wondering what happened to your 11-year-old knees. They're gone. But that's okay. You get out there every day, work them knees, work your heart muscle, right? You'll get to it. You'll remember how to imagine, right? You'll remember. But you have to learn to allow the rebuttals that empire has indoctrinated your mind with to just float on by like a meditation. Because those are not your thoughts. Your thoughts, those are not your thoughts. Your imagination, right, has been colonized too. And so when you try to dream of a world where you do not have to sell your labor in order to survive, the rebuttals pop up. That's indoctrination, right? That's how you know your brain has been washed, right? When you cannot even say the words defund the police, abolish the police. Just say the words to yourself. I imagine a world where I do not have to sell my labor to survive. I see a world where I do not have to imagine my labor to survive. You may not have to agree with it right now, and you may not believe it right now. That's okay. Just say the words, affirm it. I imagine a world where I do not have to sell my labor in order to survive. I imagine a world where I do not have to sell my labor in order to survive. Let that be your affirmation to carry you through the weekend, through the rest of this year, until the culmination is complete. Happy Friday the 13th.